The woman walked into her husband's office and found him holding his secretary. For 3 years, everyone said she was miserably in love with him, clinging to him even when he cheated and treated her horribly. But they didn't know the truth. It turned out their whole marriage was a lie. 3 years ago, his grandfather told her the family business was about to collapse and that his grandson was a complete failure. He begged her to save them, even getting on his knees and asking her to marry his grandson for 3 years so she could train him. She was secretly the heiress of a powerful Sioux group and a business genius he had once saved. To pay him back, she agreed to a 3-year contract marriage, as long as no one found out who she really was. Back in the present, her husband told his secretary he had never loved his wife, calling her boring and lifeless, and promised to divorce her the second his grandfather wasn't paying attention. For 3 years, she had worked her butt off to save his company and let him take all the credit, only to hear him put her down behind her back. The secretary then suggested he land a deal with the Huang group to finally prove himself to his grandfather. Just then, his wife walked in with his lunch, and he immediately yelled at her for being so slow. When the secretary called her out for shamelessly clinging to a man who didn't love her, the wife shot back, asking what that had to do with a gold digger like her. The husband blew up, defending his secretary and accusing his wife of being ungrateful after he'd saved her. Suddenly, the secretary knocked over a glass, and the husband immediately blamed his wife, calling her useless. As the secretary pretended to clean up the mess, she cut her hand on the broken glass on purpose and started crying. The husband rushed to her side, making a big deal over the tiny scratch while yelling at his wife for losing the backbone she used to have. She calmly replied that she was just acting like the obedient little helper he wanted her to be. As her husband left to get a first aid kit, the secretary's whole attitude changed. She made fun of the wife, saying her hand barely touched the glass and the husband was already worried sick, then viciously stomped her high heel right on the wife's hand. As the wife cried out in pain, the husband came back. Seeing the secretary on the ground, he immediately shoved his wife, accusing her of being vicious. The secretary claimed she just asked when the wife was going to leave and that the wife pushed her. The husband was furious, calling his wife vicious and saying she wasn't worthy of him. But his wife simply looked up and told him there was a security camera in the office and that he should check it. Her husband burst into the office, furious, throwing a stock transfer agreement on the ground and accusing her of running to his grandfather. It turned out that after their fight, his grandfather had forced him to sign over company shares to her. He sneered, claiming she used dirty tricks to stay married to him, and insisted all the company's recent success was his own doing. Just then, his grandfather showed up, furious that someone had told him about the secretary, and demanded his grandson treat his wife better. He threatened to give all the company shares to her if he didn't. The husband blew up, shouting that he was the rightful heir and he would never love his wife. His grandfather slapped him across the face. He was enraged that his grandson still wasn't appreciating his wife, and again threatened to cut him off. Later, the husband confronted his wife on a balcony, warning her not to think his grandfather's threats meant anything, and vowing he would never love her. As she looked down at her injured hand, she told him that he was an animal, unable to tell the difference between people and dogs. The next day, she got a panicked call from the secretary, claiming her husband was in trouble and giving her an address. Rushing to the location, she found herself at an engagement party. On stage, her husband was on one knee, proposing to his secretary. He saw her and smirked, saying she followed him around like a dog. The secretary then put on a show, apologizing and saying it was just an engagement rehearsal. She blamed herself for not having experienced it before and begged her not to be angry. The husband's friends immediately ganged up on the wife, calling her a pest and telling her to leave. When she tried to explain that they were the ones who called her, the secretary played the victim, saying it was just a joke and accusing her of making a scene. Her husband then ordered her to come and help his new fiancé with her ring. The wife ripped the ring box from his hand, furious. She yelled that he had no right to use it after she specifically told him not to touch it. The secretary immediately started crying, claiming it was her fault because she had seen the special ring on the wife's dresser and insisted on trying it on. The wife slapped the secretary, then her husband slapped her back, screaming at her for being so petty over a single ring. But it wasn't just any ring. It was the last thing her mother gave her before she died. In a fit of rage, he grabbed the ring and crushed it under his foot. He then demanded she kneel and apologize to his secretary. Suddenly, a man's voice boomed through the hall. It was Huang, a top business tycoon and their company's most important partner. He publicly shamed the husband for cheating on his wife and then canceled their multi-million-dollar partnership right there on the spot. Panicked, the husband chased after him, but Huang was disgusted. The husband, humiliated, blamed his wife, screaming that she was a curse and he would never get anything done with her around. That night, she was marking the final days of their contract on a calendar when her husband came home drunk and angry. He told her she had no right to ignore his calls after the Huang deal fell through and his secretary tried to kill herself out of guilt. He dragged her to the hospital and forced her to apologize to the secretary, who was lying in bed. She apologized for being the one to cause the secretary's suicide attempt. The secretary smirked, saying it was fine and that he would only ever have eyes for her. With just 2 days left in their contract, the wife was in a board meeting when a crisis hit. A new partner was in the middle of a food safety scandal, and the company's stock was crashing. The husband asked who made the deal, and it was his secretary. She immediately blamed the wife for not warning her. He turned on his wife, calling her a useless decoration. When a board member pointed out that the wife was behind all their recent successful plans, the husband took all the credit, saying he was the one who made the final decisions. The secretary suggested a PR stunt to cover it up, but the wife disagreed, insisting on a full recall and investigation. He overruled her, saying the company's image was more important than a few regular people. She gave up, thinking she had done all she could and her time was almost up. Just when they thought the crisis was over, the company's stock crashed again, losing $500 million in a second. The boardroom blew up into chaos as the CEO's mistress, who had taken credit for the first recovery, now blamed the new disaster on not spending enough money. She confidently promised to use her connections to fix it. But 4 hours later, the company had lost another $3 billion. With the business about to totally collapse, everyone panicked. What they didn't know was that the CEO's silent wife had already stepped outside and made a call. She secretly ordered her own powerful family to step in, paying back the debt to the man who once saved her life. This would be the last thing she ever did for him. The next moment, the crisis was miraculously solved. The boardroom celebrated, mistakenly praising the mistress for connecting with a powerful Sioux group. Her boyfriend, the CEO, took her hand right in front of his wife and called her his lucky star. Having finally cleared her debt, the wife sent her husband a text with a signed divorce agreement, saying that from now on they were strangers. She walked away, went to the records office, and erased her identity. The clerk confirmed that the name Sun Yan would no longer exist, but she was determined. After 3 years of hiding, she was ready to come back. At a party celebrating his success with his mistress, the husband got the divorce text and laughed it off, thinking it was another pathetic attempt to get his attention. His friends made fun of his wife, calling her a dog, and suggested he make her come and apologize. He arrogantly bragged that she would come running if he told her to, but when he called, she didn't answer. Humiliated and furious, he stormed home, screaming her name and vowing to throw her out for good, only to find the house empty and the signed divorce papers lying on the table. He stared in disbelief, finally realizing she was gone for good. As his company fell apart, the man realized his wife was the only one who could save him. Panicked, he tried to call her, but her phone was off. Desperate, he called her grandfather, who told him that she had left him and that he was cut off from the family money. Furious, he vowed to track her down and make her pay. Meanwhile, his mistress, seeing a chance, suggested they find the legendary business mogul Su Yin to save the company. She led him to a meeting where he came face to face with the woman he had treated so badly, now revealed as the powerful Su Yin. She was back to settle the score. In a shocking betrayal, the woman's ex-husband and his mistress publicly humiliated her, framing her for their company's problems. But as they turned to leave, a voice boomed across the room. The chairman announced the real reason the company was failing: the CEO's incompetence and his new girlfriend's scheming. They returned home only to be confronted by the man's grandfather. He was furious to see the mistress, calling her a homewrecker who caused the divorce and the company's crisis. The man defended her, blaming his ex-wife for all his problems. But the grandfather slammed his cane down, roaring that the company was only successful because of his ex-wife. He then delivered the final blow. Sun Yan is Su Yin. The couple stood frozen in shock. They accused the old man of lying just to force them back together, but he wouldn't back down. Disgusted, the man swore he would save the company himself and never take his ex-wife back, before storming out. Meanwhile, the powerful Su Yin arrived at a restaurant owned by Zhou Jinyan, a genius magnate of the AI world. A partnership with him was her next target. As she looked at his photo, she felt a strange sense of familiarity. At that very moment, Zhou Jinyan was in the same building. He thought he saw someone he recognized and rushed after her, but it was the wrong person. As he turned to leave, Su Yin walked right past him, and the two powerful titans brushed shoulders, completely unaware their worlds were about to collide. The woman was viciously shoved to the ground by her ex-husband, who then accused her of being a delusional stalker. It turned out they had just stormed into the restaurant after his mistress found out that the assistant to the powerful tycoon Su Yin was meeting her baby here. But when they arrived, they were shocked to see the assistant was with his supposedly worthless ex-wife, Sun Yan. The mistress immediately claimed Sun Yan was trying to sabotage them, and the man believed her. He was still trying to process the impossible truth. His grandfather had revealed that his ex-wife was the very tycoon he desperately needed to save his company. His mistress argued it was impossible, claiming a powerful woman would never work herself to the point of a stomach ulcer for a small deal, just as Sun Yan had done the year before. Convinced his ex-wife was a liar, he confronted her, accusing her of ruining his life because she couldn't accept their divorce. He screamed that her love was twisted and sick, and that he was disgusted by her. As his mistress played the victim, Sun Yan stood up for herself, coldly telling him he was the one with the sick obsession. The mistress then accused Sun Yan of ruining their last chance by badmouthing them to Su Yin. She tearfully told her lover how Sun Yan was trying to destroy them, But Sun Yan's assistant finally snapped. She furiously defended her boss, revealing how for 3 years Sun Yan had worked herself to the bone, handling every crisis and difficult client, all while he did nothing. She reminded him of all the sacrifices his ex-wife made only for him to cheat and abandon her. But the man was beyond reason. He accused his ex-wife of faking her illness and trying to kill his new love. He told her she was a disgrace and would never be allowed back into the family. He then grabbed his mistress and held her protectively, declaring his undying love while his ex-wife watched on, her expression turning to ice.